6 championships, 6 NBA Finals MVPs, 5 league MVPs, never allowed a game to go to a Game 7 of an NBA Finals, 10-time scoring champion, 9-time All-NBA defensive first-team player, steals champion, former Defensive Player of the Year award winner. Did I miss anything? I don't think I did. I don't think I did. Oh, by the way, played all 82 games about 7 to 8 times. Really? That's what we really having this kind of discussion? That we gonna really sit here as people who have watched tape, who have watched Michael Jordan play, knowing the culture that exists in the NBA and how it's changed. And by the way, I don't mean this in a negative way in terms of softness, but the game is called softer. I'm giving you facts.
But the skill is higher, though.
That's fine. But let me tell you why you can't use that as an excuse. If I can hurt you, I can compromise you. In other words, like, for example.
But actually, I'm going to let you finish. Go ahead.
So let's say, for example, when Steph Curry first came into the league, remember when he had those ankle injuries and stuff like that? You understand that back in the day, he wouldn't have been able to do it so much. You understand that back in the day, they would have tripped him. You understand they stepped on his foot. They done all types of stuff. They got away with everything. You know, because they weren't as protective of the stars as they are now. You were hand checking. You could body cats up. What you would get ejected for and suspended for a week now was a foul back in the day. The road to prosperity has to be taken into consideration.
So what if I tell you this, though?
Sure.
If you take Bron and put him on them Bulls teams, they still have 6 rings.
I would challenge that.
You would challenge that?
Yes. Let me tell you why I would challenge it. I agree with you if you're taking LeBron from the time that he won against OKC and he won his first title. I get to look at the 7 previous years.
But when did Jordan win?
I'm not talking about years. I'm talking about heart. You see, you got to remember something, fellas. We got to see. You can't go here because I'm not going to run.
I gotta go there because I firmly believe there's some players that you put in the 90s. Like I know you seen Wembanyama last night.
Oh yeah. There's no.
What does he look like in the 90s?
There's no answer. You want me to tell you what happened to him? Want me to tell you what happened to him?
He's shooting it over them.
Remember when he had what happened to him last year?
He got into some blood clots.
That would have happened to him. That's what they would have done to him back in the day. They'd have found a way. That's what they did. That's what they did. I'm just telling you. You had cats that had a license to assault you. It was a different game. But let me get back to your. Let me get back to your point. So, LeBron is a total package kind of player. 6'9", 260, post you up, do all of these other things. See, y'all want to ignore how you lost to Dallas. You don't get to do that.
I don't ignore it. But
Hold on, wait a minute.
I think he should have won that, honestly.
Time out.
That's probably his only fault on his resume.
That's fine, but understand the importance of that fault. Here's why. You didn't have a bad game. You were scared. It was the fourth quarter of 4 consecutive games of an NBA Finals. Unquestionably, the greatest player in the world went 4 games scoring 4 points or less in the fourth quarter with J.J. Barea and Jason Terry guarding him. There is no discussion here. There's no discussion here. The point that I'm making to you is this. There's a bigger element to go to here. Everybody has bad games. Hell, you can have a bad series. But when mentally you're warped, now you have to take into consideration the kind of advantage you've given the opposition if they were against you. I am not telling you that the LeBron that won the next year and the year after that, okay, could not be in the GOAT conversation. I'm trying to say that that person that showed up against Dallas, that Michael Jordan or those caliber of players would have never let him overcome those mental, emotional disabilities. I'm answering the question in a fashion to make you say that when you know this better than me, hell, you was at UCLA, bro. You see LaMelo in Charlotte. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know when you got a cat's heart. You know when a cat is scared, the moment is too big. Watch the documentary with Indiana on the Indiana Pacers, and they're talking about, they're interviewing Mark Jackson and they're interviewing Reggie Miller, and then they talk about how John Starks got fouled. And then you go to Mark Jackson, and Mark Jackson's footage says, John Starks wanted no part of that moment. If you're going to say that LeBron would have won the 6 rings with Pippen, then I get to ask you, was he going to overcome the bad boy Pistons?
It took MJ some tries.
I'm just saying, I got you. I'm saying I get to ask that question.
That's fair. I would argue that's
all I'm
if you
saying.
give him the same amount of time, yes.
Okay, and I'm saying to you, there was never an issue with MJ's heart.
Never.
MJ's issue was that, was Scottie Pippen going to get a migraine?
But
were you guys going to be ready?
He wasn't strong enough the first couple of times.
I feel you. He got beat up. Yeah. But what I'm saying is his game showed up. He didn't have the help. Scottie Pippen had a migraine in the Game 7, bro. You might be too young for that. You might not know that, even though you know you read about it.
He wouldn't have won without Scottie. That's what I do know.
A migraine, you can't dribble, you can't shoot, you can't play in a Game 7 of an Eastern Conference Finals when this man has starved his whole career to get there. You understand MJ crying on a bus with his dad, God rest his soul, because he's sick to his stomach because the opportunity was missed. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. I'm just saying the road traveled is what you have to take into consideration.
Well, I got one more, man. We still on double down or back down. Would you actually swing on LeBron?
I would swing on any person that put their hands on me. That's all. But listen, I'm not gonna get into all of this. I've said enough about where I feel and where I stand. At the end of the day, I will say this. I think Lonzo would tell you he's a great teammate to Lonzo. I think most people would tell you he's been a great teammate and a great ambassador for the game of basketball. And the one thing that I'm not going to let happen is, you know, our personal differences with each other get in the way of me recognizing how phenomenal of a player and a basketball ambassador he is. You know, sometimes in life people don't get along for whatever reason, and I understand that. But what nobody's going to hear me do, I'm not going to encourage anybody to dislike him, and I'm not going to encourage anybody to forget his resume and what he means to the game of basketball. And especially now that the NBA season has started, my focus and my attention is to stay away from all of that and to get folks back focusing on basketball, because I ain't going to front. When I saw the Lakers the other night playing against Golden State, damn it, I missed him out there. I want to see him out there.
Another episode of Ball in the Family podcast. Y'all keep tuning in, liking, subscribing.